Welcome back to round 3 of the team competition here in the Para-Dressage. This is the Grade 4 test of this year's team competition here at the Equestrian Para-Dressage at the World Equestrian Games. And it was a fascinating morning, particularly with Great Britain, with 2 riders going this morning, and Sophie Wells first in the arena, nailing it with a score that was just shy of equaling Michelle George's world record score. 77.233 was Sophie Wells' score with Fatal Attraction, with the defending champions Great Britain out in front. Denmark with Stina Kastrup, an excellent test for her in her Grade 2 classification, 74.848. And then the Netherlands, they've had 2 riders go this morning, but Frank Nosma's score is the one that's counting currently, 73.488. And Germany in the mix as well with a 72.791. A fascinating start, because there it's been a fascinating start, and now we're into the Grade 4 classification, and it will be Angie Peavy of the home side, United States, who will kick off proceedings. But the interesting one here will be Sanne Weerts in the 3rd to go from the Netherlands, of course, winning the gold medal. And can she throw down the gauntlet to the Great Britain team, who aren't represented here in this particular part, the Grade 4. Also included, we have Rodolfo Riscala from Brazil, and he was excellent on Tuesday, winning the silver medal. Can he put Brazil into a strong position on the team leaderboard? Well, it is a glorious hot afternoon here in Tryon in Carolina. There's confirmation. It is certainly a hot and slightly humid 86 degrees Fahrenheit here. The wind has freshened just a tad, as is normal here, but as you can see from our pictures, it's dry and sunny. The judges are in position for this Grade 4. We have Sarah Leach, Anna Prain, Christy Wysocki, Hanneke Gerritsen and Suzanne Cunningham, the 5 in the boxes, ready to adjudicate on this afternoon's 11 riders. And alongside me, we'll be watching with a great deal of interest, because she'll be going in the Grade 3 classification tomorrow in this team competition. And delighted to say, joining us again is Natasha Baker, fueled up after a good lunch, I hope, and ready, and obviously anxiously and nervously anticipating what kind of situation it will be at the end of the day when you go and do your test tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to see what Sanne can do. I actually missed her ride 2 days ago, so I was training at the time. So it'll be really good to see her. She's a great friend of mine, but obviously, you know, I don't want them to do too well.
Yes, the camaraderie does stop at a certain moment. But yes, she was brilliant the other day.
She was, yeah. I've spoken to her, and she's really excited. Her horse Demi is doing so well at the moment. He's on fire. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
She did score 73.927 in securing that gold, but it will be interesting, because this will set the tone. Great Britain have got 2 riders in that Grade 3, and not only Natasha, but Erin Orford as well in that Grade 3, and the Dutch also have the gold medalist in that classification tomorrow going as well. So, and that will be their final rider. So that Grade 3 tomorrow will be the really decisive moment, I think, for many of the directions of the medals. But the Americans now coming to the party, and it is Angela Peavy, scored 68.902 in the individual when coming 6th, and riding Royal Dark Chocolate with the nickname. Can you work out the nickname? Royal Dark Chocolate. What do you think they've done with this one as a nickname?
Choco?
No, Coco.
Coco. Oh, not far.
Okay, you know. Okay, just seeing what you might just because I mean, what did you say that Sanne Demantour? You see, I can see what they've done.
Demi.
Yeah. They've really gone out on a limb with that one, haven't they?
But then my old horse was Cabral, and he was called JP, so you wouldn't guess that.
And why?
Because he was Polish, and so they named him after the Pope as the
John Paul.
biggest, yeah, because he's like the biggest Polish export.
Okay, right. Well, but Royal Dark Chocolate is the horse who's coming into the arena to begin this Grade 4, and the 22-year-old who is paralysed down her left side since birth, and oh dear.
Looks a bit nappy. When the horse came into the arena, he had a bit of a moment then, and he's just done it again. A real shame. I really like this horse. It's got so much expression.
Well, she was competing here in the test event here. Scored 69.512 in a competition here, but bearing in mind the nature of the test, if you're just joining us, it is a different one from the one they rode on Tuesday.
Yeah, he's a bit sharp today. I don't really know this partnership very well. Obviously, being from the US, they don't really come over to Europe and visit, but he's really kicking out.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it was at the whip or at her leg, but he's being a little bit cheeky.
Yeah, and I think that's causing her all kinds of problems. They were 8th in the individual in Rio, and having to work hard, sort of.
Yeah, when he's on form, he's looking amazing. Yeah. I love his frame. I love the shape that they create.
And she's getting scores of around 4.3.
Yeah.
So as you can see that this is not really going as well. Hugely disappointing for her on home soil that this test has not quite gone as well as she would have liked. Into the halt.
Nearly square. He went to correct and then put it back down where he picked it up from, which was a pity, but good steps in the rein back. Would like to see it a bit more regular in the walk. It's just dropping a bit of activity. I think that might be where the kicking out's coming from, because if he's just dropped off her leg, dropped off her aids, then she's going to be nagging him to go forward, and that might be what he's taking a disliking to. A little large for that pirouette.
What sort of do you need it to be?
For our grade, they say around ½ a metre, but as the grades go higher, you want to reduce the size.
Well, just scores in the high 6s at the moment, but of course has had those costly setbacks, with Royal Dark Chocolate being a little bit temperamental. Is that one
again?
Any better?
Yeah, that's over a metre. So, I mean, she kept the activity, but it's just a little on the large side. Nice canter transition though.
She scored a 7 on the half circle, 7.2 on the half circle.
Really nice canter. How old is this horse, Rupert, do you know?
I do. 10.
10, okay.
She is 10.
It's a very attractive horse. Nice transitions down and back up again, showing a good clear trot.
Well, a collected canter 7.2, so there's been some good movements now. Things have calmed down.
It's got a very, very good canter. Just, that's meant to be a medium canter. The first half was a very clear medium canter, but then he just dropped off of her leg on the second half.
Is that a speed thing? What's it meant? How do you...
Yeah. So it's a more powerful canter. So you have the working trot and then the medium or extended trot. It's the same in the canter. You have the working canter, which is what she's doing now, and then the medium canter. And now she's doing a change through trot. Again, nice changes.
Much better scores at the moment now, I think.
The horse seems to have settled again. So that's good.
Much better.
Again, one for the future, with the horse being 10 and Angela only being 22. There's plenty of scope there.
So coming down the centre line.
Such a pity about the start, because the second half of this test has been really, really lovely, and I think she would have been able to have beaten her score the day before, but I think those were just 2 costly mistakes at the beginning.
Yeah, and you can see the slightly sense of disappointment on her face, not the sort of broad sense, a broad smile, you know, one of those ones where it just didn't quite happen.
Yeah, I think she should be pleased with the majority of it. It's just such a shame that he had those few blips at the beginning and just didn't seem very happy about something. There's quite a lot of flies here, and I noticed that this morning in my training, and they do really annoy the horses, and it, you know, every horse is a different level of sensitivity, and maybe he was just feeling them.
And they know the humans too. It's not just
they sure do.
I think horse flies are deeply irritating, deeply painful too. You get bitten by one of those. But
definitely, he's being a bit nappy again by the entrance and the exit.
Well, but all the same, it got better, so plenty of positives to take away from it.
Definitely. No, I think this is a really exciting combination to watch out for in Tokyo. Obviously, they can't compete at the European Championships, but they'll have their equivalent over here.
So, for Angela Peavy, waiting on her score for the American, and
she's the first to go of the Americans as well, isn't she? So
yep,
she can put them on the leaderboard. I don't think they're going to be up there with Germany, the Netherlands, Denmark, or GB though, are they? But
no.
They've got Rebecca Hartmer in the grade 3s, so hopefully she can pick up a few more points for the home team.
Waiting on her score, the first of the competitors, the 11 competitors here, really has with the way the individual went, it did look as if there were 4 or 5 teams in with a chance of a medal of some colour. And you'd probably say that with Britain, Denmark, Netherlands and Germany, the 4 main ones, Belgium might be thinking that they could get into the mix. Could start by Japan, but some of their other riders are not quite as strong. They're in the inexperienced camp, but still waiting on the score for. And we've got a provisional score. Well, it's 67.075, and there was a 64 from the judge at B, who is Sarah Leach of Great Britain, but generally around about the 67, 66 mark there, so leveling out with that score of 67.075. But it was the costly mistakes at the beginning with the horse not settling into her routine, Royal Dark Chocolate. Now, next up, talking of Japan, as we were just a few moments ago, and a reflection that they've got some inexperienced combinations. And next we have Katsuji Takashima coming into the arena and scored 63.659 in finishing 11th in the individual. So again, it's all part of the learning process as he comes into the arena.
Yeah, it's the long game for these guys, isn't it? They've got 2 years to work on everything that they need to, ready for Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. So they're going to be looking to build from their performances over the last few days. But yeah, they're looking pretty strong. And I think definitely the strongest rider in this team is from the grade 5.
Well, he's a 25-year-old. And again, part of the been spending his time in Europe, as many of them have been. So just a quick, before he starts his test, Sir Lee Pearson, there was pressure on his shoulders today to get it right. What has he told you? Was he happy?
Yeah, he's really happy. He didn't go in there for his best performance, but he went in there for a really good, steady ride around, and he definitely achieved that. He put a score on the board for us, and, you know, we're eternally grateful for that. And you know, he can just look to build on that next year ahead of the Europeans.
Well, it was in the mix. It was important to finish and take some of the pressure off you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to build your part up here, but you got a big deal tomorrow.
Thanks, Rupert.
Well,
no, I know. It's honest. It's
the
honest.
facts are there, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Yeah.
You will know, well, I'm not saying you know exactly what you've got to do, but you've just got to go out there and do the best.
Do our best.
Well, that applies to every single rider who's out there. Just do your best, get the best score possible, and see where that takes you.
Really nice shoulder in there. Really good angle, really good positioning. This is looking really sweet. It just hasn't quite got the pizzazz, or the oomph was our morning word, wasn't it?
Oomph,
that that Angela's horse had. Just not quite as much expression, but creating a really sweet picture.
Nothing like an onomatopoeic word to describe things.
Oomph.
Oomph. Doesn't it tell it as it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I
presume I don't know whether your coaches would say, I want more oomph, but I've never heard,
Yeah.
you know, but get the horse to do more. I'm going to sound like you want me coaching, don't you?
I want to get you on a horse. Right, so how are we doing? We
Well, about
are
sixes.
standing 62.
Yeah, but he's getting high sixes, sort of mid sixes, so which is on course for what would be expected to do.
Yeah, just lacking again a bit of impulsion at the end of that shoulder in. Unfortunately, just leaving the right hind out there in the halt.
Yeah.
And just dropping the pole in the rein back, and that looked like the quarters were coming in as well.
They will be penalised a little bit for that. 5.7.
But again, a really, really new young partnership, and they're just going to be wanting to build their confidence in this arena for the future.
Well, that's what it's about, and trying to get used to the, as we say, the rhythm of these big championships. How did you like that turn?
Yeah, it was a lot better size-wise than Angela's. It just lacked a bit of activity, and he was quite steep going back to the track. He could have just gone on a diagonal line, but no, it was all right.
Right. Turn 6.4.
Yeah.
And I suppose that would be where it is in the all right mark.
Yeah, it lacked activity. You want to see them marching and keeping the regular walk all the way through. And again, he just kind of tries to take that last step as well. It's like he's trying to put an extra step of the walk pirouette in. He could just go on a line straight back rather than trying to add that extra step in to just make it look a bit more smooth. A bit of an exuberant transition into canter. But a pretty accurate 10-metre loop. Again, just like to see a little bit more push from behind in this canter.
So when you're doing that transition, what do you want? When you say exuberant, you just want it less
smooth.
Yeah, less hurried, or
Yeah. You don't want the frame of the horse to change, you just want the pace to change.
I'm with you.
He's going for that extended canter. It's quite hard to keep it for the entirety of the 20-metre circle, but he's done a good job. He's definitely shown it. Oh
dear. Just stumbling, spooking at something in that.
Yeah, I saw like a flash or something, but...
Well, you see, occasionally, I don't know, with the sun suddenly coming out, or reflection.
I think because we've got some shops across the back row, and I think the sun just hit on one of the windows. I definitely looked up then, so the horse definitely would too. Just losing a bit of the balance there at X on the change of direction. Although it's a 10-metre loop, it is still a change of direction. You have to change the horse's bend, so just lost a bit of the balance there.
Well, there was sun coming out as well, and off the windows and things.
And again, not a clear transition there, unfortunately. They want to do that transition over the centre line, and he asked for it, but the horse didn't deliver its end of the bargain. Sitting on 61%. He's doing a good job of getting through this. I think, you know, he's obviously made mistakes, but he's done. He's ridden it really well.
Change of rein 4.2, so that.
Yeah.
Shows you how costly that was, and it's brought his percentage point right down. So in the end, it doesn't look like he's going to match his score of Tuesday with the mistakes. But again, a few encouraging moments. It's just being able to put it together for the entire test. That's what you're all striving for. You've got to learn, you've got to work and get the confidence with horse and rider. But
that will come.
That indeed, but rider's happy enough. The 22-year-old Katsuji Takashima coming out of the arena, rider number 2. So obviously from a Japanese point of view, that will now start with the first of the teams to have their third rider going. It will now start to...
so that's going to change the leaderboard.
Now we start getting to the nitty-gritty.
Yes, we sure do.
And I think we are definitely now getting to the nitty-gritty of the next rider. Now this is going to be fascinating.
I think Japan are going to have a minute at the top of the leaderboard before Sana posts her.
Yes, it will be just a minute. Well,
or 4, 5,
how
however
long's
long.
the test? About 5
minutes?
About
5 minutes.
Yeah, 5 minutes for the test, and
it's great for them though. You know, even to have 5 minutes at the top of the leaderboard, that's
get the
fantastic.
photograph. Get the photograph.
Exactly.
On the big scoreboard that we've got in, you can see in your picture, it looms large over this lovely arena. It is a charming little venue here, this Tryon Stadium.
Is. It's lovely to ride in there, I have to say. It's a great atmosphere when you come through that bridge, as Sana's doing right now, and come out into this large arena. But it feels somewhat cozy in there. It's a nice feeling.
You feel intimate. It
does feel intimate. Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of distance in all directions from the arena, but it does feel really nice, and yeah.
Right, well, this is the big chance. There will be pressure on her shoulders because obviously there is increasing levels of expectation on the team from the Netherlands with regard to gold medal prospects in the team competition, having done so well in the individual, nailing 2 gold medals, and one of them now into the arena. Sana Wirtz, the 32-year-old, riding Dementor, Demi, to give the horse his nickname. Of course, gold medalist in Rio and in the Europeans last year, so she's a prolific medal winner. And just to confine you, Katsuji Takashima, 60.050 was his score, and in the team composition you see 3 riders are gone, and they are now on a score of just over 130.
132.824.
Excuse me.
And in comes Sana.
So how's that start looking? Looks all very positive.
Beautiful straight centre line, lovely steady halt. She definitely knows how to present this horse so well. Look at that extension, that's just beautiful. I love this horse, and these two make such a great partnership. Lost a little bit of balance in the second half of that circle, but really nicely set up for a good shoulder in down that long side.
Interesting to see how the scores come in straight from the start. But you can, comparing even the first 2, you can just see there's more energy.
Yeah, more oomph. No, it's looking fabulous.
And 7.8 kicking off, so keeping that standard up, then we're in for an absolute ripper here. That will be hard to maintain, but 7.6 is, so we're off to a good start here.
Very,
this is a good score.
Yeah, definitely.
In the making. Long way to go, but even that looks good.
Yeah, no, they're looking fabulous, and you know, these were a great partnership out in Rio and again at the European Championships last year. Better circle that way, is a little bit small the other side. She didn't quite hit centre line, and she kept the horse's balance on that circle much better. Lovely shoulder in again. She's not throwing away. Oh, a little bit of tension there on the short side.
And the halt's not completely perfect.
No, it's The thing is, when it's that close to being perfect, you wouldn't want to correct it because it would probably make it worse.
You draw attention to it.
Exactly. How are we looking score-wise now?
75.
Fab.
And this being the third Dutch rider.
I think it's sunny. She's squinting a lot.
Well, I think, and it's bright.
It's really bright.
I was sitting out in the sun during the lunch interval. It is a very hot and bright sun here.
Really good pirouettes
smooth,
there.
Wasn't it?
Really nice. The perfect size, kept the activity. The walk rhythm didn't change. Really good bend.
Well, the Rainback got a mark in the 60s, but I think that's the only one.
That's probably
subset.
because of the halt
Yeah.
not being 100% square.
And the turn.
Turn on the haunch is 7.1. Sitting on 73.8% at the moment.
Well, it's
So well and truly into the lead. Another pirouette coming up now. Keeping the activity. Oh no, it's stuck.
Yeah.
You can just see the outside hind leg didn't keep moving.
It just sort of blocked and then.
Yeah, and that's going to be a 4 or a 5 for that, unfortunately.
Well, that might. It's a bit more costly.
Yeah.
Let's see if that is the case. A 5.1.
Yeah. Still sitting on 72% though.
Tells you the margins, doesn't it?
Very accurate, hitting the centre line at X, changing
And an
the
8
bend.
for the collected canter.
Yeah.
That is one of the few 8s outside of Sophie Wells, who had an 8.2 and an 8.1 earlier, I think, in her test.
See how the simple changes go. Lovely. Really clear walk. And come on, Sana, go for that medium canter. Yeah.
Scores picking up now. Another 8 for the change of rein. So there's some good scores coming in now. Just one or two little minor glitches.
Maintaining that medium canter the whole way through the 20-metre circle beautifully. She's doing a fab job.
Plenty of 8s now appearing.
This horse has got a super canter. Another 10-metre loop. Yep. The quarter's just swung over the centre line, but marginally, and I think
Got a lovely
it's got a lovely rhythm.
yes. Almost like you could conduct to that musically.
I've got all sorts of hand waving going on here in the commentary box.
Well, I was pretending I'm conducting a piece of music when there's plenty of 8s now. 74, over 74 now. We're near the. This probably could be a sort of 75, 76 finish here for.
Yeah.
Sana.
Lovely extension. Again.
And 8.3. Now, I think that is probably the best mark I've seen so far. I'm just trying to remember exactly what Sophie had. She had an 8.2, I know, but an 8.3 as she comes down the centre line. And I think barring those little minor glitches, it's been a very good test from Sana Wirtz, and just what the Netherlands needed, because that has thrown down the gauntlet to Natasha Baker's team, sitting alongside me, and quite rightly pumping the air. She knows she's produced a really good test for her team, because that's the third Dutch rider, and she's looking ecstatic, almost overcome with emotion, knowing that she's produced a performance of real quality for her team, and that's going to be a really strong total. And it looks as if she's going to be somewhere with an 8.5 for the end.
Yeah.
And this is a terrific test. Now, I don't think it's going to be as good as Sophie's, but it's going to be not far away, and that is the kind of score you need to win gold medals.
Definitely. I think that could actually be her international PB. It was Sophie's PB earlier. I spoke to her and she said that was 77.233 was her PB in this test. So I think we could have a second one of the day. She's over the moon, so she should be. And just think what she could have got if that second pirouette hadn't have stuck.
Well, then it probably would have been the best score of the day, if you think about it.
It could well be. Let's see. She's crying.
Well, she knows she's produced an amazing test, and it felt, it looked, it was right. And look at her.
Oh.
And
well done, Sana. We love you.
Right, now the score is 76.550. That is the provisional score. It's not as good as Sophie Wells's, but it's the kind of score that makes the Dutch team look very competitive now in their quest to secure the team gold.
One judge has given her 80% and another 72.
What? Now that is the biggest disparity that I've seen, which was 72 at E, 72 at E, which was Sarah Leach of Great Britain. Doesn't look good.
Who was the 80?
I didn't see.
I missed it too.
But anyway, what a score. And of course, with the Dutch team now on 150.038, with Nicole Den Dulk's score to be discounted, and obviously Britain now still won't have any entries in this, but now our next rider coming in is from France, Vladimir Vincent, who scored 65.366, and this is the third French rider to go. Earlier we saw two scores in the 65s, but the counting score at the moment is Estelle Guillet's score of 65.698. So Vladimir Vincent beginning his test, coming in on this 11-year-old gelding, Tarantino Fleury. Tough act to follow when you've just seen a rider absolutely nail it.
Yeah, definitely.
And you're not, clearly not expected to be in the same class. 65, 66 would be his target mark.
But he's got plenty of experience. That was a super medium trot across the diagonal. A little large on the 10-metre circle there, just going over the centre line. The arena's 20 metres wide, so 10 metres is straight on the centre line. So the judge sitting at C will see any inaccuracies there.
Competed at the 2012 Olympics, where he finished 7th.
Yeah.
And he's 44. Harking back to the other day when I added 20 years to poor Astina's age. I don't think I'm ever going to be forgiven for that.
No, I don't think you are, Rupert.
I've kept a low profile. I haven't said hello to her yet.
I think you've got some making up to do.
She's been one of the stars of the show this week, and she was terrific earlier, and I'll look forward to seeing her in the freestyle, but in the moment...
Yeah, looking pretty good. It had a bit of a balance issue in the corner before the medium trot, but the actual medium trot itself showed some good steps. Just a couple of times the horse dropping off of his leg and it just affecting the contact a little. Leaving her hind leg out. Little trip at the end there. The regularity in the walk is a little bit off. It's a little bit lateral, which the judges will not be keen on. Coming up to the pirouette. Can he keep the activity? Again, a really, really hard movement for somebody that hasn't got a leg. So he uses the whip there. You can just see him using the whip instead of the leg to just bring the horse around.
Round about some of the marks of low sixes, so he's on course for about a 63 at the moment, 64% mark.
Yeah, didn't quite show enough stretch for me in that half 20-metre circle. I'd like to see the horse stretch down and out a little bit more. This pirouette should be a bit easier for him as it's the side that he's got his leg. A little on the large side, but he kept the activity. Nice canter when heading into the loop. He's missed the centre line a few times, but not this time. Spot on.
Score's getting better.
What are we sitting on at the moment?
63, but 0.89, but there was a 6.7 in there, so just slightly higher marks being recorded.
A little late with his transition back to trot there. I'm not quite sure if the horse wasn't listening to him, but the transitions themselves were pretty good. Lovely medium canter, showing a clear difference from the working canter. And back again. And then the loop this way. Again, this might be hard this way because he hasn't got the leg there on the outside. So let's see how he manages. No, perfect. Well done, good riding.
6.9 for some of these, so it's definitely gone
up.
Well up, so that's all good.
A better transition down, it was more accurate, but the transition up was a little bit long. He didn't really push from behind into the transition into canter. It fell a bit flat, but some good steps in the medium canter on the circle as he comes down the centre line to finish his test.
7 there for one of those, for the circle left in the medium canter. So the scores have picked up for Vladimir Vincent from France, their third rider to go in the team competition. And they've all produced marks around about the same, about the 65%. So it's all been very consistent. But will he be one of the scores that counts for the French effort? And I tell you what, I think after a slightly hesitant start, and then a good fist pump to the camera as well from Vladimir. So I think he was quite happy with that.
He's happy, I think. Yeah. We've got a change in the score for Angela Peavy, 67.075.
Okay, remember we often get provisional, so we still might, never know if we see a change to Sanna Wirtz's score once they complete them. But 67.075 for Angela Peavy, the first of the American riders to go, as we look at Vladimir completing his test here in happy style for the third French team member here on day one of the team competition, which has been set up really nicely for tomorrow, with one rider to come from the Dutch and then 2 from Great Britain, including my co-commentator here, who was riding a horse Diva this morning. Have a nice little trot round, jog round? What
I didn't trot today, actually. She's worked so hard and she was so good yesterday. My trainer just gave her a stretch and walk trot canter, and then I did lots of walks and halts because that's where we lost our marks yesterday.
Okay. So
practice makes perfect, right?
So both of you are in the naughty room practicing today, were you? That's the way it works.
That's what every day is like, you got to work on the bits that aren't so good, even though it's not so much fun doing that, but...
And how were your bits that you were practicing this morning?
Better than yesterday. So let's see if we can do it in the arena tomorrow.
Right, okay. I shall be watching closely.
Good. I'll have a lesson from you when I get home.
No chance. Do you want to win gold or do you want to lose gold? I mean, that's the way it works, isn't it? So what's your ambitions? If you want a lesson from me, then basically the British run of winning medals will have ended, okay? That's the way it works. Anyway, let's get back to the next rider, because more importantly, and it is another American rider, Kate Shoemaker, who scored 68.707 on Tuesday. And for Kate, poor Angela Peavy didn't have the best start today, scoring that 67.75, but we've got the score of Vladimir Vincent, so another one in the 65s. There are 3 riders, always scores in the 65% range, but 65.550 is his score. So a solid team effort there, a consistent team effort with 3 riders all producing results of the same. But one of the scores is discarded. And just confirming which one for the French. And it will be Chloe Maslin's score that is the discard score currently for the French.
So what do you think this horse is called in the stable then, Rupert?
Sol.
Solly.
Solly, okay. Solitaire, yes. There is a song about solitaire as well.
Oh,
Going
is
back
there?
to continuing the musical theme.
Okay.
Solitaire.
I
think it was someone like Andy Williams sang a song about solitaire. Now you wouldn't even know who Andy Williams was,
No.
but he was a crooner from the 60s and 70s. Big over here.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
There we go. And he was big star over here, and he had TV specials and everything. He was the equivalent in your country, Britain, of Val Doonican.
Okay.
To anyone listening to the rest of the world and watching from the rest of the world, we've lost you. But anyway.
This is looking good here from Kate. I haven't seen this combination before, and the horse was actually a little bit poorly a couple of months ago, so they're really happy to just be here competing. But he's looking really, really well now, and yeah, the shoulder in on the right rein wasn't quite the angle that you would want. As you can see here, it's not quite on 3 tracks. You'd want to see a little bit more angle, but lovely halt. Slightly just overcorrected on that off 4, but really nice start. This horse hasn't got the biggest walk in the world, but it looks very regular. Coming up to her walk pirouettes. Let's see how she can do.
31-year-old American.
Nice small pirouettes, kept fairly active. Just took one big step at the beginning, but pretty good start. Lovely stretch down in the free walk. That's the kind of stretch out and down that you want to see in that. And then picking up the reins to prepare for the next pirouette.
Scored 68.542 in this arena in the team test and the test event here earlier this year. That was in April.
Nicer pirouette that way. Currently sitting on 68.8%.
Well, they're obviously looking for with Angela's score of 67, would like to see a score in excess of that. And they've got Roxanne Trunel, who got a bronze medal, who finished 5th, I should say, in the Grade 1 yesterday. It was a good test from her. So
she's the one on the 6-year-old, isn't she?
She is on the 6-year-old, Dalton, and she'll be going in that in tomorrow. Germany have got a significant rider in that, as well as Denmark and Belgium, but so that'll be significant.
Nice transition into the medium, just dropping a little bit in the contact there. You'd want to see it a bit more uphill. It's kind of bearing down onto the shoulder, but good difference shown.
Well, if we just look at the significance of the Grade 3 tomorrow, because we've got 2 German riders, Angelika Trabert and Stefan Zeibig. I mean, it is such a tough competition.
Yeah, it really is. I've just worked out that to regain the same as the Netherlands, I need to get 70, well, me or Erin need to get 73%. But then it all depends on what Rixt gets too, because she's going first in the Grade 3s tomorrow.
No pressure then. When are you going? What number are you?
I'm 6th to go.
So you will know the score when you go
I
in.
will know the score when I go in.
Basically, come in with a 75 and you'll be all right.
Yeah, but then it's going to depend what Rixt gets as well, and what Erin gets too. So we can only do our best.
Correct.
But back to Kate, coming down her final centre line. Lovely transition into trot. And can she make it a square one? I think she can.
Well,
she's happy.
She's happy, and a big kiss for her horse, Solly, and some good scores towards the end. Has she inched over the 70% mark? And that would be terrific. Big grin from Kate there as she enjoys the moment of competing on home soil, and plenty of spectators under the shade, because I tell you what, it's tough work sitting out in the sun here as a spectator, because that is a broiling sun.
It is really, really hot, and there's no air out there whatsoever, so everybody is definitely making the right choice to sit in the shade, otherwise there'll be a lot of lobsters around later.
Yes, indeed. And there's Kate just coming out, a big smile, and job well done from the 31-year-old. And a privilege it is. I mean, you remember what it's like to compete in a major championship on home soil. There's nothing like it.
No, there really is nothing like it. I was fortunate enough to go to the London 2012 Paralympic Games, and just stepping out into the stadium is so emotional, and you know that most of the audience are supporting you. It's a truly, truly incredible feeling.
It was in Greenwich, wasn't it?
It was in Greenwich, yeah, and I'm a London girl, which made it even more special for me.
Yeah. So now waiting on the score for Kate to see what that does to the American cause. I think she's going to be looking at around about a 70%, and it would be an improvement on a 68.70.
Oh,
and
so close.
No, disappointment for her.
So close, 69.8%.
Well, C liked her, and that was the American judge, Christy Vazocki, with a 73.
The rest sitting consistently on 69%, and Angela Peavy has now gone to the drop score for America.
Yep, so there, confirmation, 69.80. Two more riders to come from America. Now, next into the arena before we have a little break is another of the Finnish riders, Pia Pauliina Reiti, on a 9-year-old bay gelding, Supremo, which she owns as well. And coming in to the arena, a 29-year-old Finnish rider. And what can she do on this horse to... Again, there's always the battle to get to Tokyo, and that's what many of these teams are looking for. Yeah,
definitely. The top 8 teams will go forward to team qualification for Tokyo. So that's what the major fight is for. Obviously, everybody wants to be on the top spot of that podium, but the goal is to get qualified for the next Paralympic Games. And then the top 8 get qualified, and then for the Europeans next year, the top 8 qualify again. But if any countries are already qualified, it'll get dropped down to the next ones.
Well, Pia coming in down the centre line, and they're only a 3-rider team. Jana Kivimäki scored 65.848, and Katja Karolainen is the last rider for the Finns, so just 3 riders competing, so no drop score, so this has to be as good as she can make it.
So is the other rider a 3 or a 1?
Bear with me, caller.
Okay.
Grade 1.
Grade 1.
And Katja scored 72 yesterday, so and there were 9 riders with a 70+ score yesterday in the grade 1s.
Wow. That was a good competition.
And that's why she ended up still only finishing 6th.
Okay. Looking good in this serpentine here, just losing a bit of balance on that last turn. You could just see in the contact looking a little bit unsteady. The first turn was beautiful though. And then off into medium trot, showing some good steps.
Pleasing.
nice accurate 10-metre circle. Looked as if it lost a little bit of balance on that second half. Yeah, which has just affected the shoulder in a little bit at the start. Couldn't quite get her positioning straight away. And leaving a left hind leg.
Quite a long way behind.
Yeah, see, if it's a hold like that, then if the rider can feel it, it is worth correcting. But when they're so close and when they're like a footprint away, then sometimes it's just not worth it.
.7 for that rein back.
A little large on the pirouette there, just lost the bend as well. Just swung out the hindquarters. Good stretch and over track though in the free walk. Let's see if she can do a better second pirouette. Just lost some activity on the way in, but a better size that time.
I also see what you mean about the sort of keeping the foot going round, whereas we saw the one mistake that Sana made. It sort of checked and didn't go complete and carry on past the other foot.
Yeah, exactly. The foot pivots rather than steps. You want to keep the activity throughout the pirouette. And the rhythm's got to stay the same as you would in walk. And that's when the activity just drops off and you lose the rhythm. Just dropping the pole a little bit into the transition.
Dropping the pole, what do you mean by that?
So the pole is between the ears. So when they just drop their heads a little bit too low.
Okay. So you've got to keep your head more upright.
Yeah. So the pole has to be at the highest point and the face has got to be vertical.
So if you're looking at now, just how would you, or is it not relevant in this particular?
Yeah, no, it's relevant the whole time. How Sana Vogt's horse was, poles at the top and the face is vertical.
Right. So that's not bad. Right. No.
That's about in front of the verticals.
Okay.
That's poking its nose a little bit. So
there's a lot to look at, isn't there?
there is.
You've got to be sharp as a judge.
Luckily, these guys are very experienced. They know what they're doing.
Will you be giving them, flashing a broad smile at them when you trot in tomorrow?
Of course I do. Did you not notice my big smile yesterday?
Yes, I did. Yes, you were on the charm offensive. But anyway, coming down the centre line, our final rider before a little break is Pia-Pauliina Reiti from Finland. Their second of 3 riders to go. And I think round about 63. Well, that won't quite match her score of the other day, so she may be feeling a little disappointed. It never really sprung into life for her, I think, would be the overriding sort of impression at the end.
Okay, Rupert.
Well, now you're dismissing me. But would you not agree?
No, I think there was just moments where the picture wasn't consistent, and the horse either dropped behind the vertical or just resisted a little. But the horse has got the paces, and I think there's plenty more in there.
Well, still, we now go into the break, but we'll wait on her score and see what it's done overall. Obviously, Sana Vogt's storming into the lead, the only one currently in a score in the 70s. It was just an exhilarating test for the lady from the Netherlands. 76.550 is what she scored, and obviously it's helped put Netherlands right at the top of the tree in the standings, with 3 teams so far having two riders counting, and Finland's score obviously will count as well. It's Netherlands, Japan and France with scores that have mattered, and score for her 64.10, the second of the Finnish riders. So that will be added to the initial score, and for the team result, there's confirmation. There is no drop score for the Finnish team, with just 3 counting. So that is how it's worked out at the moment. So there you have the current standings in this individual part of this competition, what it has meant the riders have done so far, with Sanne Weerts, as I say, storming into the pole position here, and a major boost to the Netherlands' chances of securing team gold. And there, look at the standings. Netherlands, Japan and France with those officially. Of course, Finland as well will be added to that. But Great Britain, Denmark and Germany still other riders to go, although they've had 2 riders. Germany will still be down there as well. But it's all to play for, and still to come. We have riders from Brazil. The silver medalist, Rodolfo Riscala, will start the second session of this grade 4, and we'll be back in around about 20 minutes to see how Rodolfo Riscala can get on, and whether he can get somewhere near Sanne Weerts' total. And welcome back to the final session on the first day of team competition here at the World Equestrian Games here in the Tryon Stadium, the Team Para-Dressage competition. And it's been fascinating, and it's going to be a wonderful climax to the competition. Netherlands have had 3 riders, hence with 1 discard score at the moment on 150.038. Japan, France and Finland have all had 2 counting scores so far, 132.824, France and Finland on 129.998. Now the rest of the riders, some have had 2, such as Great Britain, but of course just 1 score is currently counting, the likes of Denmark and Germany. So it is all to play for, but the Netherlands, obviously with Sanne Weerts and her 76.550, has definitely turned up the heat with regards to how the gold medal could be heading. But obviously we still have a few more riders to go in this particular grade, but there is what happened so far. Clearly a class apart at the moment than the rest, with Sanne Weerts with 76.550. First of the American pairings of their 4 riders going, with Kate Shoemaker producing the best of the tests. But we've still got some high-class combinations to come, including the first to go here this afternoon, Rodolfo Riscala in this final session, the silver medalist, the Brazilian. He will be starting soon. But from a scoring perspective, just how the standings are worked at the moment, because as Rodolfo has come into the arena, there you can see just going through shot with Rodolfo Riscala, also Manon Claes from Belgium. She might have an impact as well on proceedings. Belgium's definitely in the hunt for the medal, so this could be another little decisive session here to end on this Thursday. Natasha Baker still alongside me. From a scoring perspective, everyone now, there's a chef to keep, some team members working out what needs to be done. You're going to be going tomorrow morning, but obviously they do discard one. Whatever the lowest score is discarded once 3 have done their tests.
Yeah, so if there's 4 on a team, the bottom score gets discarded, but as they go along, if we see the standings later on, you'll see that the Netherlands, although 3 riders have been, the drop score from there won't be counted on the leaderboard.
And at the moment there is Nicole Van Dulk is the discard score at the moment. But from Brazil, now he was brilliant in winning the silver medal the other day, scoring 73.366. Now the 15-year-old Don Henrico is the horse he's riding, and it's been a really tough few years for Rodolfo, because at one stage he had aspirations for competing in the able-bodied dressage for Brazil at the Rio Olympics, but then on the way back to see his ill father in 2015 contracted a really vicious form of meningitis, which resulted in him having both legs amputated below the knees, lost some fingers as well, but still within a year was riding in the para-dressage at Rio. And clearly with that performance earlier this week suggests that he's now feeling totally at ease on the para-dressage stage, and the marks are looking pretty good right from the start here, Natasha.
Yeah, it started to be a really, really nice test. He had a couple of imbalances in the serpentine and in the first 10-metre circle, but the second one was really good. I'd like to see a little bit more angle in that shoulder in just then, but on the whole, it's a really nice partnership. Kind of nearly square, but some good, pretty good rein back steps.
Mark's all in the 7s at the moment in the main and mid 7s, so he's around about the 73 mark, which is roughly where he was at the start in the individual.
Yeah, it's a very active horse. It's got a lot of natural energy, which is good, and that should help him out here in the pirouettes. Let's see. Yeah, pretty active. Just lost a bit of regularity, but the horse kept going. And this will be quite a hard movement for him, but he's leaning forward to be able to give the rein down, but it looks like he's got some like loops around his hands, which is obviously how he holds the reins. But obviously if the meningitis affected his hands, he'll find it hard.
Well, he lost some fingers as well, you see. So
yeah, he'll be finding it hard to hold reins in the conventional way. And that's the great thing about paras is, you know, we have these compensating aids for a reason, and they are there to make it as similar as possible to an able-bodied person, but obviously it'll never quite be the same as having a full set of fingers and working legs. Good loop there, nice change in the bend. It just creates a really nice picture, this partnership, and I am a bit of a sucker for a chestnut. Lovely transitions.
Right time of year for you then.
Autumn.
Chestnuts coming off the tree.
Yeah. Lovely transition into the medium canter and keeping it for the majority of the circle. Yeah, and a good transition back. Oh, yes. Little lack of balance there.
Well, he's getting 7.9, so some high scores coming in various elements of this test for Rodolfo.
Good 10-meter loop. Keeping the activity throughout.
And we know we were talking about the head.
Yeah. This is the frame that you want.
That looks as near as good as it gets, doesn't it?
So that's when the pole is at the highest point and the nose is on the vertical. So just as he's showing there. He dropped the pole a little bit in the last medium canter, but he's kept it much more. So in the medium paces, and this is for the canter and for the trot, you want to see the frame extend a little bit because you're extending the pace. So you want to see the frame extend, but the pole still has to be at the highest point and the nose still has to be on the vertical.
Well, plenty of good scores for the Brazilian, Rodolfo Riscala, as he comes down the centre line. This is a very good test for the Brazilian, and it's been a terrific week so far. And look at the smile and how he has done that, and quite rightly raising his arm in acknowledgement, and a big pat for his horse Don Henrico, this 15-year-old. Done him proud this week, and has certainly given the Brazilians a good score, and obviously their aim is to head off to Tokyo, but the score that he's produced won't do them any harm.
Definitely not. No, it's the first time I've seen this combination, and you can actually see his hands really well there. So it looks like he's got no fingers at all on his right hand and just a few stumps on his left hand, but with a thumb on that hand. So that thumb is pretty crucial to holding the rein, really. So that, oh.
Whoops, the horse is keen. Enjoyed it so much. Keen to get back and keen to get back to the stables.
The rider dropped his, I think he's got, yeah, that's clever. So he's got something in his reins to hold his whip. Because, of course, with not having any fingers, you're not going to be able to hold a whip either. So that's a really clever little contraption that they've made up there. Well, I like that.
When he comes in for the freestyle, we'll make sure we have a good look at that.
Yeah, we can.
So, good to see. Well done anyway. We'll get the score for Rodolfo. Next up will be a Danish rider. Again, this is important. This is a significant moment as well for the Danish hopes. Definitely medal contenders as they've got stronger and stronger. What's the score here? Coming through any minute now, we think. Sanne Wirth scored 76.550. That was just such a beautiful display of dressage in this grade 4, and we've seen some, well, Sophie Wells obviously with that 77 score earlier today, first into the arena, and it is fabulous to see these high quality tests. Little time before the score comes through.
Yeah, I think he's going to be overtaking Kate and Angela in the grade 4 standings
by a long way.
Yes, yeah. I think. What do you reckon? What are you thinking, Rupert? In your expert opinion?
74.865.
Ooh, I'm going to say 73. Oh,
74.4625. What did I said? 825. Nice. I'm moving into the boxes now. Yeah. But anyway, let's look at the scores here. There's a 77 from C, but there is an E. Sarah Leach has come up with a 70. But I'll tell you what, Sarah has been quite brutal at times. So she's been consistently brutal. Yeah,
and I think that's a good trait. Okay, you know, not to be brutal, but yeah, it's a good trait to be consistent.
If you're going to be lower, be consistently
lower. Precisely.
Right, now, Suzanne Jensby Sunnarsen, the bronze medalist from Tuesday, the 41-year-old Danish rider, riding one of the oldest horses, if not the oldest, Kefair. I've seen a couple of other 20-year-olds, but Kefair done her proud over the years for Suzanne. And
you wouldn't know he was 20 years old.
No, you would not.
I think this is her last championship on this horse.
They won the Freestyle Gold in Gothenburg.
They did.
And that was a further confirmation of just how well they played, and it presumably will be their swan song on Saturday, the Freestyle as a combination. But you can see just how warm it is, and yeah. He is sweating up. It is muggy, and you can see the sweat glistening off this evergreen Kefair coming in. So, what can she do? And remember, Denmark have got off to an excellent start with the Grade 2 gold medalist, Stine Kastrup.
So is this their second Danish rider of the...
Time to quickly look at my scoreboard. I think you may be...
Lovely medium trot.
Yes,
there.
Indeed.
Because really super steps.
They've got to come, and it's important that she posts a big score. Because if we look at the other riders...
So we've got Caroline, haven't we, in my grade, in the grade 3s, and then Lena in the 1s.
Yes. So this is one that they need in the certainly mid-70s. Mid-70s.
Yeah.
Or the...
So we're sitting on 69.5 at the moment.
Getting some 7s now.
Really lovely change of bends. Just proves how supple this horse is, even at 20 years old, to be able to change the bend and look so fit and well.
Wow, look at it.
Lovely steps. It just dropped a little bit in the contact at the beginning there.
Very extravagant, wasn't it, the way he puts his foot?
Nice balance in the 10-meter circle. Maybe could see a little bit more angle in the shoulder in. Quite abrupt into the hole, which is why it didn't come up square, but really nice rein back steps.
So just around about the 70, she'll be looking for an improvement here. It's not quite getting into the mark, a really strong mark that she'll be looking for.
No, because it was very tight, wasn't it, on Tuesday between the top 3? I think they were all on 73%. So
yes, there was...
she would be looking to come up to Rodolfo's kind of percentage with 74, really.
It was 73.927 for Sana. Rodolfo 73.366 and Suzanne was 73.146. Now that is nothing.
Tight. Yeah, absolutely.
The margins.
Nice stretch in the walk.
But Sana has certainly improved significantly on that, and Rodolfo solid as well. He's improved. Again, they're stressing this is a slightly different, less demanding test, but still difficult enough.
Absolutely. You know, these are the equivalent. Good pirouette, really kept the activity and was nice and small there. Yeah, this is the equivalent of our Grand Prix. So although obviously we're not riding the able-bodied Grand Prix, but for our disabilities and for the level of impairment, this is our version of a Grand Prix.
And for grade 4, what is the sort of top line in terms of the disability level? Because has a sort of top line as to what qualifies you for this particular grade.
So generally you would have, it's quite hard to say. So visually impaired, so completely blind, and then maybe half a whole complete arm and something wrong with leg, or impairment in both legs, but not as much as in a grade 3.
You can see that she's able to use her leg to,
yes.
to offer.
I'm not actually sure what Susan's disability is, but I know Sana has problems with her legs, but again, not as much as a grade 3. So,
which is why you are a grade 3.
Yes, because I can't use mine at all. And my trunk is impaired as well, so yeah. Classification is a minefield.
It is, it is. Constantly being re-evaluated.
Yeah, and you know, there's new disabilities all of the time, and it's so hard because obviously there's only 5 grades and there's so many different variations. I mean, you just take cerebral palsy. You can have a grade 5 cerebral palsy or a grade 1 cerebral palsy. You know, and it's so hard to fit everybody into the correct category.
Some of these scores getting better.
Yeah, that was a really super 20-meter circle in medium canter. And down her final centre line.
Well, I think she's
nice and straight.
Not quite probably what she was hoping for, but coming down, strong end. So a strong end for Suzanne Sunesson, and she's happy enough, but probably is going to be in the 70s, but not necessarily a strong 70 score. Unlike Sanavo, it's obviously that's a very strong score, but
yeah.
Rodolfo Riscala has come up with a strong score for his Brazilian team. But for Suzanne, she's happy enough. She's waving away. You can see some Danish support team in the shade as we look at Keffer coming to the end of his international career.
Yep, freestyle still to go on Saturday. She looks really happy. She's got some super young horses that are coming up through the ranks at home. I think she breeds as well, so we might see some homebreds maybe in Tokyo.
Well done to her. We wait on the score and see what that does to the Danish total and where it puts them in the overall standings behind our leaders, the Netherlands, who are in no danger of being overhauled today. It's all about tomorrow, and the lady to my right in the commentary box, you're the one who could have an impact tomorrow morning. You see, I gave you the pressure look there. So what happens? Are you going to be, there'll be a big team talk and it'll just make you more and more nervous, or are you going to try and walk away from it all and just do your own thing?
I think everybody deals with it in different ways, and you kind of got to go out there and just think about your own performance and, do the absolute best and try not to think too much about, you know, oh, I've got to get that score, because I think sometimes the problem with riding is you can override, and you know that's what happened to me at the last World Games. I wanted that gold medal so much, and I wanted it almost too much, and I just pushed too much, and it didn't work. So I think just go in there and ride the best test you can.
Well, score coming through then for Suzanne Sunderson, and it is 70.525, and M only giving her a 66, but otherwise a pretty, and a 74 at H. So obviously marking it, and that's why it's coming with a score of 70.525, but in the 70s. But from a team perspective, that well, they opened up with a 74, so not a bad start then for the Danes. That's their second rider, and obviously currently that counts as discard, but but it's still a pretty, if you really will look at that score, because that will count, I'm pretty sure, in terms of the Danish tally. So behoves me to try and do some maths here. Well,
good luck.
In other words, get the calculator out and add that score to the score of Stinner. But the next rider is coming in, and that is from France, Jose Letarte, and well, they've already had, I think this is their last rider to go. I was
going to say, I think we've had quite a few.
Yeah, this is the last French rider to go. And they all scored scores in the 65. Now, he's a 67 man in the individual, so this probably should be the best score for the French, all being well for them. He's riding Swing Royal, a 12-year-old gelding, and so the horse owned by the École Nationale d'Equitation. Well, anyway, it made basically the equestrian school. Anyway, rider for France.
How's your French?
Mal, which I think means, well, I hope means bad. I hope. Anyway, good luck to Jose. Well, you commentate while I'll add up.
Okay. So good start, nice and straight down that centre line. Slight loss of balance in the corner there, but regained it for the medium trot. Some good steps, but just dropping in the pole. Nice accurate 10-metre circle. And lovely positioning in the shoulder in, that's really super. Again, just dropping in the pole slightly ever so often. You've done your maths, haven't you?
I've done my maths, and it puts them on 145.373.
So just behind the Netherlands.
So 5 points behind, but that is, you know, that's a good score,
yeah.
And it shows you, as we're pretty sure that score won't be a discard score where they're at.
What did Lena get yesterday in the Grade 1s? Sorry, I'm making you do more work now.
You carry on. You carry on. Lena in the Grade 1s.
Again, some good steps in the medium trot. Just like to see it pushing a little bit more from behind up into the contact.
Right, 71.571 Lena got.
So it could be the drop score.
What about Caroline? Scored 70.441. Okay.
Close.
So what you're seeing is you've got a very consistent, the three other riders are all on the same sort of mark.
Yeah.
So
Caroline was actually the reserve rider because Tobias, who was selected, I'm not sure who got injured because my Danish isn't up to scratch, but the horse or the rider was injured just before coming out.
And here. Tobias is a story in his own right. He's got such a backstory, and how he rides, sometimes you wonder how.
Yeah.
Because he's battling
a degenerative disability. But coming into the walk pirouettes now, trying to maintain that activity. That was pretty good, a little big, it could have been smaller, but kept the activity throughout. Like to see a little bit more bend for the higher marks, but lovely medium walk, extended walk, sorry. Really big walk steps, stretching out nicely.
Making it look easy too.
Oh, not so much there though. A bit of resistance there.
Curse of the commentator.
Just swung its quarters out a little bit on that one, and that was a tad bigger. Just again, like to see the hind legs stepping on the same spot and turning around. Especially in the higher grades, they need to be that little bit tighter than in the threes.
And just got marked down accordingly for those. But he's around about the 68, so he is going to be the best French score. They will be the team, they will be sitting on top of the leaderboard if you add all three overnight.
Of course, yeah.
Because they will.
Because they've had all 4 riders.
Yeah. But obviously still all to play for. But they
definitely. So it's us and the Danish that have got 2 today and 2 tomorrow.
Yes.
But quite a few of them have got all tomorrow, or 3 of them today and 1 tomorrow.
Yes, but the ones who've got all tomorrow probably are Canada, but I wouldn't see them being medalists. They've got, and Hong Kong and Portugal have, but Hong Kong and Portugal have just got 3 rider teams, and Italy have still got 3 riders to go.
Yep, so all to play for tomorrow for those crucial qualifying places for the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games.
Brazil have got 3 to go, but the US 2. Germany have got 3 to go.
Just losing the balance there over X on the change, coming back to the track. That was a pity because that was going well.
And Denmark have got the 2 to go.
Pretty good change of leg through trot. Again, just dropping that contact occasionally, and it just seems to happen in the transitions, which is going to be a little bit expensive. But good change into the extended canter.
It's all around about the 68% mark, the high 6s.
Yeah, for the higher marks, you just want to see it pushing a little bit more from behind up into a more steady contact with the pole at the highest point.
So, the last French rider in the team competition completes his test as a depart for France.
I don't think he's moving. He's quite happy there.
He's enjoying it.
Yeah, he's enjoying his moment.
Right, on he goes. But the final French rider, and with just 2 more to go, and the next rider is actually significant as well, with Belgium, with Manon Claes still to go.
Most definitely, yeah. Just missed out on a medal the other day, which he was really upset about.
Well, when you think that she scored 72.854 and the bronze medal was 73.146, again, that's next to nothing in terms of judging. But the French now, and this will be the best test for the French. The others, as I say, all in the 65% region. And though France will be sitting, having completed on top of the leaderboard, but then they've got to sweat anxiously as to work out where they're going to finish. But how is it going to impact on them on the long term? And he looks very pleased with his day's work.
Yeah, really nice, consistent test. I think the marks are pretty consistent throughout. And here we go.
So 68.650 is the score there. Again, pretty consistent from the judges. B just a bit lower and C higher, but overall 68.50. There is the score for the Dutch, and their final tally will be 199.998 for the French rather than the Dutch. So that puts them in a provisional first place, but it shows you where they are, and they sit with 199, just short of the 200 mark for the team. The score of Chloe Mislin is the discard score, and the team standings, obviously sticking to the combinations with 2 completed counting scores, Netherlands, Japan and Finland with their scores, and Great Britain and Denmark then in 5th and 6th. But now the sort of permutations, the will now go on overnight, and discussions and thoughts as to what might be. Well, for Belgium, coming in is the Manon Clays on the 10-year-old Saint Dior. And they are coming in to the arena, the 32-year-old on this 10-year-old, coming in and out to help their team cause here. And so far just the one rider, Suske Vermeulen, scored 70.884 in her test. So can Manon get something better than that? Wonderful hat she's got on.
Yeah, very, I don't know, is it like mock skin, snake skin or something? She's very well colour coordinated because it matches the top of her boots too. Very smart.
Sort of.
And a nice smart start to the test too. She's been a great rider over the last few years and won her first medal at the Europeans last year, and she's looking to get another one out here at the World Equestrian Games. I do really, really like this horse. He has such a presence about him. They create a really lovely partnership. Lovely serpentine. I think that will be getting pretty high marks there.
Well, she's getting plenty of 7s at the moment. Let's see what the serpentine does.
Yeah, 7.4 for the serpentine.
Nice test so far.
Definitely. Really nice and balanced. Lots of swing through the back in the horse in the trot. Could have just seen a little bit more angle in the shoulder in the last rein, and yeah, again the same here. Just want to see it on a definite 3 tracks.
Coming to the halt.
Very nice.
One,
Could have just held the halt for a little bit longer.
Is it the 5-second rule?
It's not the 5-second rule, no, but it is halt, immobility, rein back. And so you'd want to count to at least 2, and that was pretty quick. Although it was very, very square, it was a little quick. Just 1 more second.
Only got 6.4. That's probably reflecting what you were saying there.
Nice pirouette. Keeping the rhythm and keeping active. And then stretch down. Horse looks quite hot. You can see the sweat on its neck. When they're really hot, they make this white foam where the reins go, which you can see.
Well, it is hot, isn't it?
It is very hot, plus 30 degrees.
And it's always accentuated more on a horse of this colour.
Well, yes.
It's hot for the riders
Nice
too.
pirouette as well. I was literally just about to say that, in a hat and a jacket and black boots and everything. It's rather warm.
Well, they were in an air-conditioned commentary box, and Natasha decided she needed a sweater.
I did. I was freezing. Really lovely picture in the canter. Nice and accurate hitting X there.
All in the mid-7s, the scores coming in. So at the moment.
So she could be in with overtaking Suzanne, maybe?
I think that's definitely on the cards. I'm not sure. It's not as good as Rodolfo's, though.
No.
So it's 3rd spot. That will just add to the pain, though, of missing out on...
Missing out the other day.
That was such
But she's got plenty of opportunity with this horse, whereas Suzanne, it is going to be her last championships with them. So it's nice that she got the medal. Although I'm very good friends with both of them, so...
Tough call.
It is a tough call. Us girls have to stick together.
Yeah.
But no, this is a really lovely test from Magnon.
Well, 7.8
great job
for the change of rein, so the score's very much on an upward curve. So very good news from a Belgian perspective.
Definitely. Nice transitions. Not quite as good as the first one, just paused before they cantered again. And yeah, a difference, but she could have gone for a little bit more, I feel, in the medium canter on the circle.
Right, coming down the centre line to end her test. The second Belgian rider completing, but completing impressively. And really helping their team cause. And Manon Claes, who agonising for the 32-year-old Belgian, missed out on bronze in the individual, but she has produced another solid test. She scored 72.854, and she's looking as if she's produced a score better than that, and she will be mighty pleased, I'm sure, with her efforts.
Yeah, she'll be over the moon. And not only has she got the support from the Belgian crowd, she is also dating Ahmed from Saudi Arabia, who's in the grade 5, so she's got the support from them as well. So yeah, I'm sure that they will all be celebrating tonight from that score.
Well, but obviously from Ahmed's point of view, I think, I'm just checking where he finished.
I'm not sure if he got through to the freestyle or not.
I don't think he did. And says he looking for all his pieces of paper. And this is
it's not a very organised office.
No, it's not. I've lost it.
What, the plot or the paper?
Or both, but anyway. Not worried about that, but more importantly, we are waiting on the score, because again it will have an impact on proceedings. The best score, just Siska Vermeulen with a 70.884, and here comes the score. That's an excellent 73.175.
Yeah,
look at, and the judges there absolutely marking it
so consistently,
and that is a terrific.
That's what you like to see from the judges, because then you know that they're all looking at the same thing and they're all in agreement, which is a really nice feeling.
So she'll be pleased with that from a Belgian perspective, and not only that, as from a personal perspective, I am sure, because looking at the current standings, she's in third. The team standings, and with that one counting score for Belgium, then they are right up there. It's now getting extremely interesting heading into tomorrow, but with one more rider to come, and this is probably not necessarily going to be the best test of the day, but it's Federico Lunghi representing Italy. He did score 61.293. This is a 12-year-old Laudario coming in, and last year was scoring around the 60% mark, so this combination looking to try and improve on that. From an Italian perspective, let's have a look at what they've done so far.
Obviously they've got Sarah tomorrow in the grade 1s, who'll be hopefully posting a mid-70s.
One rider so far, Murillo Vicario, scored 65.303. They've got Francesca Salvadi and Muggle, wonderful named horse, and Sarah Morganti with Royal Delight, their star turn. So this is probably to be their discard score, but you never know. So Federico begins the final test on day 3 of the Para-Dressage here in Carolina.
Little wobble on the end of the centre line, unfortunately. The horse just not quite consistent in the contact. You'd want to see it a bit more over its back and round, but good positioning in the shoulder in, nicely on 3 tracks. How are we doing score-wise?
par for the course for Federico?
61.6%. Yeah, the horse just looking a little tense over its back and not really coming round or through. And then when you ask it to go more forward for the mediums, it just struggles.
So everything is around about the 6, so...
Yeah, again, not quite as much angle as they had in the first shoulder in there, unfortunately.
And the halt is definitely not.
He tried correcting though, but unfortunately didn't quite work. Let's see how these pirouettes go. Hopefully you can keep the activity. That was pretty good actually. Kept the activity, nice small pirouette. One of his better movements, I would say, in this test. Like to see a bit more stretch down. You can see, yeah, it just stepped out and pivoted round rather than really kept the activity and marching round. And you've got to keep the regularity and the rhythm in the pirouette. He's just really struggling because the horse just isn't really through or over its back, and when they're tense through their back they're much harder to sit to and they're a bit more reluctant to go forwards, and you can just see the horse lacking the activity that they need. Dropped down to 59%.
There was always going to be a potential struggle.
He's performing the movements though, and again, I think his first championships, he's giving the horse a lot of confidence. A definite difference in the medium canter. If he can keep that level of activity, I think that will help him out actually in the next few movements. That's better, a bit more forward now. Just a bit too much bend there to the right. And coming to the chained through trot. Good downward transition. And can he go for it again in this medium canter? Yeah, a bit of a difference shown. I'd want this more as his working canter, but the more forward the horse is, the easier it's going to make him to ride.
So, coming down the centre line, Federico Lunghi for the final time today, and always likely to be the discard score, but he's mightily chuffed though with whatever the score is. He's still happy with the performance, and he looks pleased. It's tough work, but he's got through it and tried to keep the damage to a minimum. Looks as if he might just be able to get a score in the 60s and maybe ahead of the Japanese rider, but and could be in 10th spot, but and he looks very chuffed.
He's very happy, yeah.
And why not?
He's got lots of Italian supporters in the audience.
And they're rushing forward with the flag. Down, and there's a little bit of a green banking in one of the corners, and a huge Italian flag has been produced.
And a wig, I think I can see as well, frantically waving their flags.
Watching Federico just complete his test, and then you can see the wonderful reaction to that test for Federico, and then the Italian flags waving in the background for him.
I'm not quite sure what the horse reckons to that big flag. You can see it now, it's just come onto your screens.
Yeah, well, they're not going too over the top with it.
No, they're not. I think the running down the hill nearly set the horse off, but he looks incredibly happy with his performance.
Well, that is it for today, and it's been very interesting. Here is the score, 60.550. So sadly, we'll be in 11th spot, just behind Katsuji Takashima, who finished on 60.575. But the team result for Italy, Maurizio Vaccaro score counting 65.303. 2 more riders to go, in course, the Grade 1 gold medalist, Sarah Morganti. So that's for the Italians, but obviously the big issue will be the team standings. Now, France have had all 4 riders go, and that's why they have a final score of 199.998. Netherlands with 2 counting scores so far, with Sanne Voets producing 76.550, has put them on 150. Japan, Finland. Now, at the moment, Great Britain have just 1 counting score with 2 riders to go in the Grade 3 tomorrow. Of course, it's Natasha and her colleague Erin Orford for Great Britain, the defending champions. There's confirmation of how this Grade 4 ended here, with Sanne Voets out on top, Ronaldo Riscala for Brazil, and Manon Claes, the 1, 2, 3, all producing excellent tests. And also Suzanne Sunderson in 4th with a +70. Natasha, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow on your behalf. It's going to be a tense day, isn't it?
It is, yes.
And I
don't think I'll have any nails left.
And they're very colourful nails, because there's been a lot of work done on those nails. But it's going to be a fascinating Grade 3, which is first up, because I think that could go a long way to determining the destination of the gold medal, with Great Britain and the Netherlands, but I'm sure other countries too will be battling hard to secure that gold medal, or whatever medal of colour. So that's why I think it's bubbling up nicely. Terrific day's sport here in the Tryon Stadium, and we'll be back in good time for tomorrow's final day in the team competition, when both the Grade 3 and Grade 1 will be put through their paces. Join us then.